Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Started, yeah. So today we'll be starting the 14th chapter, not the 13th one. We'll be starting the 14th chapter, which is called as simple harmonic motion. So generally the 13th chapter is not much important, so I'll be teaching it at the end only. The 14th chapter is called simple harmonic motion, and this is a very, very important chapter. Okay. So before I get into the context of what is a simple harmonic motion, I'm going to introduce certain basic terminologies. Okay. First, so when you talk about a motion, what are all the types of motion that come to your mind? Translatory
Uniform
motion. Yeah, translatory motion.
Rotation
You have rotation motion, you have uniform circular motion, something like that, right? So if I try to relate all these motions with respect to time and find how regular they are getting repeated, then what comes to your mind?
Frequency, sir.
Yes, the concept of frequency is going to come into picture. So, but before seeing what is a frequency, I'm going to talk about the first type of motion, which is called as periodic motion. So, how do I describe a motion to be periodic in nature? So, name it's suggesting, right? Periodic means what?
Recurring motion.
Yes. So, can I say it is a type of motion which repeats itself after? Can you complete the statement?
Time.
Yes, after a certain time. I can say after regular intervals of time. So please write it down. It is a type of motion which repeats itself at regular intervals of time. So that's what a periodic motion means. Okay. Now listen. So next to periodic motion, see there are two things here. One is I'm going to speak about the types of motion, and the second is I'm going to speak about the types of functions. Okay, before that I need to give you some examples. Can you tell me some examples related to periodic motion?
Bob.
Sorry?
Pendulum bob.
Okay, you can say a pendulum which is swinging. Next. You can talk about your clock. Right? Or else I can say the seconds hand in your clock. Is it not repeating itself after every 60 seconds? Right? Revolution of Earth around Sun.
So the swinging of cricket bat.
Sorry?
The swinging of cricket bat.
I'm not able to hear. There is a lot of disturbance. You type, no? I'll include that. Okay, so these are all certain examples with respect to periodic motion. Right? Next, I'm going to speak about what is a periodic function. Try to understand. If I use the word motion, it is related to physics. If I use the word function, it is related to math. Okay, so what do you mean by periodic function? It is a mathematical function which repeats itself after regular intervals of time. Okay, if you are able to know a mathematical function which is able to repeat itself after regular intervals of time, that kind of a function is what is called as periodic function. Okay, and the time after which, or I can say the duration after which function repeats itself is called period of the function. Okay, I'll give you examples, don't worry. So the examples of periodic function are sin x, cos x, tan x, cot x, cosecant x, and secant x. So basically, all trigonometric functions are periodic in nature, and representation of a periodic function is like this. F of x plus t should be equal to f of x. F of x plus t is equal to f of x, where t is called period of the function. For example, if I take sin x, what is sin of x plus pi? If I say f of x is equal to sin x, guys, if I ask you a question like what is sin of x plus pi?
Sin pi.
Just minus sin x. Because sin of x plus pi means which quadrant are you entering into?
Third quadrant.
Third quadrant. In third quadrant, sin is positive or negative?
Negative.
Negative. That is why it is minus sin x. Whereas if I put a question like this, sin of x plus 2 pi, what is the answer going to be?
Sin x.
It is sin x. So what is the minimum interval after which, what is the minimum interval you can add to x within sin to generate back the same function? It is 2 pi. For example, if I ask you what is sin of x plus 3 pi, what will you say?
Sin x.
It is minus sin x because see, 0 to pi, pi plus something is third quadrant. Okay. So I'll make a rotation with red color marker. Tell me how much rotation have I completed?
One, sir.
One full rotation.
One rotation, one full rotation. So how many radians have I covered in it? 2 pi radians. So to this existing 2 pi, if I add another pi, how much will I get?
3 pi.
So when I do 3 pi plus x, which quadrant am I entering into?
Third quadrant.
The third quadrant, again it is negative. It's a cycle. Then what is sin of x plus 4 pi?
Sin x.
So if you observe, after every 2 pi, 4 pi, 6 pi, the sin x will become the same function. That is why when you observe the graphical representation of it, there's a very, very important point. Observe, okay? There is a lot of mathematics involved in this chapter. So if I take the graph to be like this angle is 0, this angle is pi, this is pi by 2, this angle is pi, this angle is 3 pi by 2, and this angle is 2 pi. So if I take this portion alone, it is the graph of sin x in one complete interval where this is called positive cycle and this is called negative cycle. Guys, are you able to understand? After 2 pi, if you observe, the same graph is getting repeated from where to where? From 2 pi to 4 pi. So what is the difference in this interval? What is the length of this interval?
2 pi.
2
It is
pi.
again 2 pi. So the meaning of it is sin x after every 2 pi radians, it will repeat itself. That is why sin x is a periodic function with a period of how much?
2 pi.
Are you able to understand? Similarly, you have period for other functions also. Period of cos x is 2 pi. Similarly, period of tan x and cot x is pi, something like that. We don't need all those things. In this chapter, for you to begin with, you need it's more than sufficient if you know sin x and cos x. Is it clear till this step? Are you guys able to understand what is periodic function?
Sir, I have a doubt.
Tell me.
Sir, why do we take only pi, sir? We can use even pi by 2, right?
Why did I take only pi?
Pi, sir. Why not pi by 2?
Why not pi by 2? Good question. So what is the function saying? F of x plus t should be f of x. Correct? Means sin of x plus t should generate sin x. So the value of t I need to choose here such that if I use that t for as a sum of x inside sin, I should get back sin. If I take x plus pi by 2, what will happen?
Cos x.
Ron, you got your answer.
Yes, sir. I understood now.
Okay, that is the reason why I didn't choose multiple of pi by 2.
Okay, sir. Understood.
That's good. So this is all about periodic functions. You need not get into depth about this. If you know the outline, that is more than sufficient, because in this chapter we'll be using sine and cos. So you need to understand why we are using only sine and cos, because they are periodic functions. Similar is the case with tan, cot also, but they are not continuous functions. Continuous in the sense, if you revisit, look at your textbook, in trigonometry chapter, observe the graph for tan x, it will be like this. It will not be a continuous function. It will have breakage. Whereas if you observe the graph of sine and cos, they do not have any break. They start at a particular point, they keep going till plus infinity and minus infinity. Okay, since sin x and cos x are continuous functions. Now, coming back to physics. The third type of motion we are going to, the second type of motion that we are going to discuss is vibratory or oscillatory motion. So what do we mean by that? The name is suggesting. If there is a to and fro motion taking place about
6 points, sir.
the fixed point. That fixed point has a technical name. About a mean position is called vibratory or oscillatory motion. So how is it going to look like? If I take a particle, if I call it as the mean position, okay, from the mean position, the particle will go to extreme, and this side it will go to another extreme. Right. So when the particle travels to and fro, okay, from one extreme to another, then this kind of a motion is what is called as oscillatory or vibratory motion. And this mean position is what is called as fixed point. What is the example for this? The best example we can think of here is again.
Swing, sir.
Sorry?
Swing.
Spring. Yeah, spring is also an example.
Swing,
Vibrating. Swing is also an example. Swing is an example. Spring is also an example. The spring which is vibrating, okay? The swing which is oscillating. Okay? We call it as either vibratory motion or oscillatory motion. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, now listen. So with respect to the oscillatory motion, there are other parts you need to understand. Like I told you, extreme position, but we do not call them as extreme position. We have some name for the distance between the mean position and extreme position. Do you know what is the answer for that? We call it as amplitude A. So amplitude of an oscillatory motion. So how do we define it? It is the maximum distance of the particle from mean position. So maximum distance of the particle from the mean position is what is called as amplitude. And it is represented with symbol A. It can be both positive and negative. In the sense, for example, you're taking the right side position to be A, the left side's maximum position will be minus A. Clear? So these are all the terms related to oscillatory motion. Okay, next. Time period. So how do you define the time period as? Time taken by the particle to complete one oscillation. So time taken by the particle to complete one oscillation is what is called as time period, and time period is represented by the symbol capital T. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Now listen. So when the particle goes from mean position to extreme and the extreme on other side, when can you say the oscillation is one complete oscillation? That is when, if I take this point as O, this as A and this as B, one full oscillation or one complete oscillation is given like this. O to A plus A to O, right? So from mean to extreme and from extreme to mean plus O to B plus B to O. All these distances put together is what we call it as one oscillation. Guys, are you able to understand? So time taken for the particle to go from mean position to extreme is equal to how much? So time taken to complete the distance traveled by distance traveled between O to A to O, O to B, and B to O is what is equal to capital T. That is the total time. So it is broken into how many cycles?
4.
So 4, no? So time taken by the particle to go from mean position to the extreme is t by 4. From extreme to mean will be how much?
Two.
So from mean to extreme, if it is taking t by 4, from extreme to mean also it will take the same time t by 4. Okay. Now where is the particle? The particle has gone to one extreme and come back. Now what is its work? From mean to other extreme will be how much?
T by 4.
Yes. So other extreme to mean is t by 4. This is a very important point. Have this in your mind. So the each journey is broken into 4 equal parts. Okay. The 4 equal parts put together is going to give you one complete oscillation. Clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Right. Okay. Make a note of this.
So we should add all these, sir.
If you add all these times together, then you will get a total time of t. Is that clear? So that is what is meant by one full oscillation. Because the problems will have these kind of terms. The time taken by the particle is this much to complete one oscillation, or they will say 3/4 of the oscillation. So you need to have clarity. Suppose I frame a question from this. How much is the time taken for the particle to complete 3/4 of the oscillations? What will you say?
Three t by 4.
3t by 4. Suppose I ask the question, how much is the time taken by the particle to complete half oscillation?
T by 2.
T by 2. Suppose they ask what is for 1/8 of the oscillation. It will be T by 8, that's it. Okay. So something like this. So they'll give you the times, don't worry. That's how we need to solve. So if you're clear with time period, the next point that we need to discuss is frequency. So frequency is given by the symbol F. What is frequency? It is the reciprocal of time period, that is mathematically. So F is equal to 1 by T. In terms of definition, it is like this: number of oscillations per unit time. So number of oscillations per unit time is also called as frequency. So what is going to be the SI unit for it?
Hertz.
It is actually second inverse, or we call it as hertz. That is Hz. Okay. Is this clear, guys? So we call it as second inverse or hertz. So these are all the main. So these are all the main terms that are related to oscillatory motion. Now I need to discuss what is called as a harmonic motion. See, as of now, I'll give you the definition, just accept it. If I say harmonic or simple harmonic, they both mean the same. There is nothing like complex harmonic motion at all. It's just given a name called a simple harmonic. So I'll give you the definition, as of now, accept it. Once I show you the derivation, you will have a clarity on it. Okay. So harmonic motion means, write it down. any motion, or I can say not any motion, an oscillatory motion in which acceleration is always directed towards its center or towards its mean position. Is what is called as a harmonic motion or SHM. Can call it a simple harmonic itself. So if you talk about an oscillatory motion, any particle which is oscillating is going to have acceleration. That is for sure. You'll understand slowly why it is so. So you can, if you want, you can make a note. Any particle that is oscillating will have acceleration. And if that acceleration is always directed towards the mean position, then that kind of a motion is said to be simple harmonic in nature. I'll show you a small example. Okay. Now, if I take, you told simple pendulum is an example of vibratory motion, but I'm saying simple pendulum is an example of vibratory motion and simple harmonic as well. Okay. So if the particle, let's say there is a simple pendulum where there is a bob which is suspended by a string, it is going to lie at its mean position, correct? If you displace the particle from O to A and you release it at point A, you remove your hand at point A, what will happen to it? So what will
It will
happen to
start to
it?
swing, sir.
So it will start to oscillate, right? But my question is, why is it starting to oscillate? Who's responsible for the particle to go into the oscillatory motion? Why is it trying to come back to its mean position?
Force.
Which force?
Gravitational
So
force.
mg is acting downwards. Let's say the particle is displaced by a theta with respect to the vertical. Then if you try to resolve mg into two components, then if this angle is theta, this will be mg cos theta and this will be mg sin theta. So out of mg cos theta and mg sin theta, which is responsible for the particle to go from extreme to mean position? You think logically, you'll understand. The particle is moving in which direction?
mg
It is
sin
moving.
theta.
It is mg sin theta that is responsible for the particle to go back to its mean position. Now see, the particle, see, look at the arrow marks I'm going to use. The particle got displaced from O to A, but the force is acting from A to O. Can I call this, according to the definition that I have in my hand, can I call this as a harmonic motion, a simple harmonic motion? Are you able to understand? So can I call this as a simple harmonic motion? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So that's what it is. That's the meaning. Okay. Similarly, when it is going to the other extreme, mg sin theta's direction will change. It will again be directed towards the center. So this is one of the best examples for a simple harmonic motion. Clear?
Sir,
Tell me.
so in one complete oscillation, two harmonic motions will be present, sir.
It is not like that. There is nothing like it. You need not dissect it into parts. It is
Oh,
just
sir.
like you need not break it into parts. You need not break it into one full oscillation and all. If in every part of the oscillation, okay, I'm repeating it, if in every part of the oscillation, if the acceleration is directed towards the mean position, then that kind of a motion is always simple harmonic in nature. Okay, so whether I take the particle to move from O to A or O to B and B to O, you can observe it is always directed in the opposite direction. Okay, the force is always directed towards the mean position. So when the particle went from O to A, mg sin theta is towards O. When the particle is coming from A to O, what is the direction of mg sin theta? Is it not still towards O? Are you able to understand, guys? When the particle goes from O to A, what is the direction of mg sin theta?
Towards O.
Towards O. From A to O, it is still towards O only. Its direction didn't change. So throughout its journey, how many ever times it is, let's say it is oscillating 100 times. During those 100 times, every time you see, at every point, mg sin theta is directed only towards O. So can I call this as a simple harmonic motion according to the definition? Right. So mathematically, acceleration is directly proportional to minus x. Negative of displacement. So A is equal to minus omega square x, where omega is called as the angular frequency, which is nothing but 2 pi f or 2 pi by t. Okay. So if anyone asks you the definition, then you need to say this: any motion, any oscillatory motion in which acceleration is directed towards its center, towards its mean position. Similarly, if they ask you what is the mathematical condition for a simple harmonic motion, then acceleration will be equal to minus omega square x. Why it is minus omega square x, that also I will prove it. But as of now, have this point in your mind. It is then I can proceed with the next part of the chapter. Is it clear till this step? We have not yet got into the mathematical details. Okay. So if you're clear with this, I'll proceed to the next part. The next part is an interesting one. I'll show you a small video where you can actually visualize what is happening. From there, I will start the derivations. Shall I proceed?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. So write down the next heading. This is a very, very, very important one. That is projection of uniform circular motion on simple harmonic motion. Right? So what is a uniform circular motion? Is it periodic or oscillatory or both? When a particle is moving in a uniform circular motion, is it, I'll give you options, you think and tell me. Is it only periodic? Is it only oscillatory? Two options. Is it only periodic or only oscillatory?
Periodic, sir.
It is only periodic motion. It is not oscillatory because it is not revolving about a mean position. Rather, it is moving in a fixed path. I hope you understood the difference between periodic and oscillatory. For oscillatory motion, for you to call any motion to be oscillatory, you need a fixed point. What is the name of that fixed point called as?
Mean position, sir.
You need a mean position. Without a mean position, you cannot call anything as a oscillatory motion. So here, one important conclusion that we can draw is, I'll give you a statement. You guys think and tell me again. Can I say every periodic motion is oscillatory? Is my statement true or wrong? False. Every periodic motion is oscillatory.
No, sir.
No. But the vice versa, that is, every oscillatory motion is periodic.
Yes, sir.
Yes, it is. Right, because every oscillatory motion has an important parameter associated with it. What is it called as? It's called as time period. Okay, and it also has the mean position concept. Are you able to understand? So now what we are going to see is projection of uniform circular motion on simple harmonic motion. So I'm going to show you a video. See, observe, okay? I'll be narrating it. You will not be able to hear anything, but concentrate. So there is a purple color ball that you're able to see. Now tell me how it is actually moving.
A very interesting point about a
Straight
simple
motion.
It's a to and fro motion about some fixed point. Let's say the length of the line is L, the mean position will be at L by 2. It is oscillating about that position. So can I call this as a vibratory motion? Right. As of now, I'm not calling anything as simple harmonic. Can I call this as a vibratory motion?
Yes, sir.
Right. Now see what is going to happen.
motion is that it can be considered as a projection of a uniform circular motion.
So was the particle actually moving in a straight line path?
Sir.
Did you understand? Was the particle actually moving in a straight line path? Observe it again, okay? Be careful. So here when you see,
Point about a simple
you're able to
harmonic
see,
motion
when you're
is that
looking at it, you're able to see that the
it can be
particle is in
considered
straight line
as a
motion.
projection
But actually, where is it rotating?
of a uniform circular motion.
It is actually in what kind of
That is,
motion?
a uniform circular
Circular
motion
motion.
It is actually a uniform circular motion, but when you see from the side, okay, that is, when you have a circle like this, when you see from this side, no, what will you be able to see? You'll only be able to see this curvature, no, this curvature like a straight line. Are you able to understand, guys? See, let me show this to you. I'm searching for a circular object. Listen. Are you able to see me? See, listen. I have the state. The particle is revolving like this. Okay, the particle is actually revolving like this. But whereas when I see from this side, what am I able to see? Am I able to see the other side? You're able to understand. The particle is actually revolving like this. Now, I will take my hand and show it in this way. How are you able to see my hand? It will appear, see, actually this is fat. Okay, if it is thin enough, you can observe that the hand is actually moving like this. That's what you saw in the video. Are you guys able to visualize what I'm trying to say?
Yes, sir.
That's what is called as projection. Okay, projection is actually viewing from different angle. So it is circle is 2-dimension, but when you see from the side of the circle, it is appearing like 1-dimension. Correct? Huh? So now see what exactly is going to happen.
when viewed sideways.
Now see.
Is a simple harmonic motion. We can also consider a simple harmonic motion.
Okay, suppose
shadow
when the ball is
of a
revolving, I keep a ball in the side and I try to capture the motion of the ball alone. If I try to capture the shadow of the ball alone, then how is it going to appear? Look at the ball, no? Look at the shadow on the right.
Circular motion.
So the ball is actually revolving in circular path, but how is the shadow moving?
Up and down, sir.
It is moving up and down. So this is what is meant by
Let us say
projection of a
the
uniform
angular
circular
speed of a
motion
particle
as a simple harmonic
moving
motion.
along a circular path of radius
Are you able
d
to visualize this point?
is equal to omega. If the particle starts from this position, then after time t,
Yes.
its angular displacement.
So now I can show you things better. Suppose the particle is revolving in a circular path. This is the wall. Okay. And let's see, there is a red color ball which has started from here. Okay. Now, where will the shadow of this ball be? It will exactly be somewhere over here. Correct? Let's say the particle is revolving in anti-clockwise direction with an angular velocity omega. If the particle is stopping here from P, let's say it is stopping at P dash, then it would have swept an angle theta at the center. Correct? So it would have swept an angle theta at the center. Now, where will the position of P dash get captured on the wall? If I just drop a perpendicular from here to here, then the particle will be somewhere over here. So this is the projection of P on the wall. This is the projection of P dash on the wall. Is it clear till this point? Right. Similarly, had the particle been here, this is P double dash. Right. So with respect to the center to this height, what is this distance called as? It is the radius. Right. In terms of circle, the distance between O and P dash can be called as the radius. Correct? Similarly, in terms of simple harmonic, in terms of oscillatory motion, what can I call this distance OPP dash as? So after P double dash, it will come somewhere over here, P triple dash. Right. Again, there will be another point here where it will appear like this. Correct? Let me call it as P triple dash, something like this. Then this distances are, then how much is this distance in terms of an oscillatory motion? I've given the hint.
Amplitude, sir.
Yes. Is it not the amplitude? Because the particle cannot go beyond the circle. No, it cannot come out. So the extreme points of the circle in the vertical, that is the extreme ends of the diameter, is going to define the amplitude of whom? Amplitude of the projected simple harmonic motion. Is that clear? So the radius of the circle is equal to the amplitude of the simple harmonic motion when you're treating that circle as the projection on the wall. Does it make sense, guys? So if I erase all these points, if I erase all these points, okay, my interest of study is, if I consider the circle to have a radius of A, where A defines the amplitude of the simple harmonic motion. Okay, so I hope now you understood why the radius is equal to A. So let's say the particle started at point P at t is equal to 0, and it is at P dash at some time t. Correct? Now I'm interested to find the coordinates of this point at time t. So if I take this distance as x and this distance as y, then what can I say that y divided by a is equal to? If I take the right angle triangle, what is y divided by a?
Sin x.
That is not sin x, sin theta. Correct? Let this be equation number 1. We know that theta is equal to omega naught into t plus half into alpha t square. I've told you in the rotational motion also. So this equation is applicable for circular motion also as well. So theta will be equal to, in the place of omega naught, I will write it as omega into t plus, when the object is in uniform circular motion, alpha will be 0. So theta can be replaced with omega t. Let this be equation number 2. If I take and substitute it here, then y will be equal to what? A times sine theta, which is nothing but a times sine of omega t. So y is equal to a sine omega t is the displacement equation of the particle in SHM, because this distance y is same as the distance OP dash. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Please make a note of this. So y is equal to a sin omega t, or x is equal to a cos omega t. A cos omega t also you will get by using x by a is equal to cos theta.
So, sir, here A is the radius, sir.
A is the amplitude. Forget about radius now, because we try to extract everything from the circular motion. Here, A is the amplitude of whom? Amplitude of SHM, which is also equal to radius of circular motion. Got it?
Okay, sir, understood.
Okay. Now
I
listen.
actually have one more.
Tell me.
Here we considered even y as an amplitude, right, sir? It's the maximum
Why
distance.
is not amplitude? Why is the instantaneous displacement? Why is dependent on time? Right?
Okay, sir, understood.
Yeah. Okay. So y represents the displacement of the particle in vertical direction. X represents the displacement of particle in horizontal direction. See, this equation will also be taught in your school, but I'll give a clarity about this in the next class. As of now, don't worry about X. Concentrate only on Y. Okay. So displacement of a particle is y is equal to a sin omega t. If I do dy by dt, what am I going to get? A into d by dt of sin omega t. Okay. So by now, you people know what is chain rule, right? So A into, what is the derivative of sin omega t? What is the derivative of sin? It is cos, right? Cos of what? Cos of the same angle into d by dt of, you need to differentiate the angle inside, that is omega t, right? So A cos omega t into d by dt of omega t, that will be A omega into cos omega t. So, but what is dy by dt according to physics? What is the rate of change of displacement?
Velocity.
Velocity. So this is the velocity of the particle, which is given by A omega into cos omega t. So this is 1, this is 2. Okay, I'll finish the next step also. Derivative of velocity, Vp means velocity of particle. Okay, or I will write only V. dV by dt is what? A omega into d by dt of cos omega t. Now you guys tell me how to apply chain rule. That is A omega into derivative of cos is minus sin omega t into, what should I do to omega t? D by dt of omega t. Correct? So A omega into minus sin omega t into d by dt of omega t is how much? A omega into minus sin omega t into derivative of omega t is omega. So multiply both, minus A omega square sin omega t. But what is A sin omega t, guys?
Y.
So, yes. So can I write this as minus omega square into A sin omega t, which is nothing but minus omega square y. And what is dv by dt? It is acceleration. So A is equal to minus omega square y. How does it look like? Is this not the mathematical equation for SHM? Guys, are you able to understand?
Yes, sir.
So mathematics is also supporting it. So A is equal to minus omega square y represents the equation of particle in SHM. And as I mentioned, this is a very, very, very important relation.
Is the equation for acceleration and simple harmonic motion.
Yes, it is the equation of acceleration of particle in SHM. So going forward, there will be questions like this. You need to find the time period of some particle. So during that time, we will be using this equation only to prove that the particle is in SHM. So have this in your mind. Okay. So I've taught the basics. So make a note of this. Next class, I will show you why this x is equal to a cos omega t has actually come. That is what is meant by this horizontal. So revise it before the next class so that you will understand things better. Is that clear? Any other doubt from today's class?
No doubts.
No, sir.
Okay. So just wait for a minute.